Okay, welcome back to the Track A, and I continue to facilitate Track A together with Sampa Patra as a co-facilitator. I hope you are enjoying GIS Day so far. Next, we have a series of speakers who will talk to you about how they are using GIS technology in their fields. Again, if you have any questions for our speakers, please type them in the chat. The first speakers are Sandy Hurst and Matt Whitmire from Esri. Sandy Hurst is a senior account executive for Esri, working with cities and counties in Northern California on their geospatial and location strategies. She also contributes her expertise and experience to smart community initiatives. She was a senior director of business development for the fifth largest newspaper holding company in the US before switching the gears to GIS in 2012 when she became the business development manager for Vestra. She later moved to Esri to manage local government accounts in Northern California. And another speaker is Matt Whitmire. He is a senior solution engineer at Esri, helping local governments to do amazing work with location intelligence using the Esri Geospatial Cloud. Previously, Matt deployed enterprise GIS for the global US Navy Information Technology Center and created and managed the largest spatial database for agriculture crops data in the state of California. With that, I would like to hand it over to Sandy and Matt.
Thank you, Yoko, and hello, everyone. Thank you for allowing us to show you some of what's new at Esri in 2022. As you know, Esri develops a plethora of products and solution offerings, but with so many options, how do you know what to use and when? When we look at building new offerings, we look at you, our customers' needs and priorities. We work with many state and local governments throughout the nation and identify the trends that encompass your needs, your work, your efforts. With that, there are so many repeatable initiatives that drive our customers to use our tools. One of the major trends where we see GIS being utilized is to answer questions around how to rebuild, rethink, and reimagine infrastructure. Governments are called upon to maintain, expand, and improve our infrastructure to provide better quality of life for residents. These infrastructure systems allow us to deliver services and utilities, improve mobility, address the digital divide, attain health equity, achieve affordable housing, and establish a balance between natural and built environments. There is massive pressure on governments to rebuild, rethink, and reimagine how they improve and deliver our transportation, water, sewer, housing, land, and broadband infrastructure. Next slide, please. Another trend we see GIS being used is how to address humans in crisis. The term humans in crisis encompasses such as homelessness, substance misuse, mental health, racial disparities, health equity, disease outbreaks, natural disasters, economic mobility, food insecurity, and lack of access to transportation, services, opportunities, and more. Heightened due to the COVID-19 pandemic, governments experience immense pressure to respond and address these issues in crisis mode. Next slide. Another important trend is how do we improve sustainability and resiliency? Sustainability and resiliency are two distinctly different terms. Resiliency refers to developing workflows and processes to assist communities in bouncing back from both natural and man-made disasters or chronic stresses. These disasters include things like fires, floods, typhoons, hurricanes, and extend to include catastrophic events such as oil spills, climate change, and economic collapse. Sustainability refers to the development of communities keeping a balance of nature while taking in considerations such as population shifts, lifestyle changes, and demographic changes. Sustainability looks to understand the impacts of humans on the economy, environment, and equity. Efforts can range from addressing economic mobility to renewables to conservation. Communities globally are being asked to step up to climate change, racial equity, mobility, and environmental issues. Next slide. Another trend has us asking, how do we achieve equity and inclusion? One way to look at this is to understand how GIS addresses equity and inclusion through greater understanding of a community's makeup. Identifying inequities and gaps in services and to better communicate with residents, there is a need to integrate the message into all markets and industries. The equity lens must be applied throughout all workflows within transportation, health, planning, public works, environment, and more. So in all we do, we look to you. How can we help you use GIS to help shape your community? With that, I'll pass the mic over to another important member of your account team, Matt Tweedemeyer. Go ahead, Matt.
Thanks, Andy. Sec here. Advance the slide. So yeah, hello everyone. I'm excited to discuss what Esri's been working on the last couple of years as we've come out of the pandemic. And today what I'm going to do is center around advanced spatial analytics. So we've been increasingly improving our products around this theme. And a lot of that overlaps with what Sandy just expressed earlier about what you guys are dealing with in the real world, as far as what governments are dealing with and how our tools can be used to solve some of those problems, but also look at those problems from a very deep lens of utilizing different tool sets that we have that you guys can leverage now within the Esri platform. And we've been working on this for the last couple of years. I'm going to talk about a new product that we've launched this year, and then a couple other things. But when we talk about advanced spatial analytics, we're talking about three fundamental things. So we have analysis, which is specifically analytical methods and spatial algorithms. Then we have data science, which is a big emerging trend. We have a lot of data analysts in different governments, which we define as identifying patterns, trends, and anomalies. And then we have artificial intelligence, which continues to be included in a lot of different solutions that folks are leveraging. And that artificial intelligence is being built into not only software, but you're seeing it rise in products that are offered in the cloud, like Amazon Web Services and Azure and Google Cloud. And so when we're thinking about those concepts, the goal of spatial analysis is to derive intelligence, understanding, and better decisions on your data. And historically, customers like yourself and the folks that we serve across the world, you know, as Esri, we're the expert in obviously spatial data, but we want to be able to help folks leverage all different types of data. So obviously, we're very strong, obviously, in that spatial component, spatial data. But there's continuing this trend of more data types, non-spatial data types, being able to support that, like unstructured data types and some of these other emerging data types that we're seeing in the industry. And so what we've been able to do is we've built in and we continue to refine our offerings around being able to bring in non-spatial data into our spatial ecosystem, our ArcGIS system, and being able to use it with maps and with location intelligence. And so this data can be tabular, unstructured, full motion. As you can see here, we're getting into full motion video and even big data as we get into the constructs of cloud data warehouses and large repositories, and being able to connect those together to be able to make decisions. So before we jump into the product I'm going to talk about today, which is ArcGIS Knowledge, just want to talk about what we already have offered within the platform that Santa Clara County owns, whether it's ArcGIS Online or ArcGIS Enterprise. So, for example, like with the, hold on a sec here, make sure I have the right slide. One sec, sorry. On the right side, yeah. So I just want to talk about how, quickly summarize what we've already been able to do within the enterprise platform. So for example, you see all these circles, being able to collect information. So ArcGIS incorporates the right tools and frameworks to enable enterprise data workflows, which you guys leverage right now. And you're seeing a lot of examples during today of a lot of different employees at the county being able to leverage these different themes when it comes to spatial data. And so we continue to expand on that. And it goes from collecting data to maintaining it, to accessing it, to sharing it, to modeling it, to analyzing it, and then visualizing it so that you can be able to make decisions. And really what we're all about is making sure that you have that in a single enterprise experience, which is what you guys have today. And so when we're talking about different types of tools that you can leverage, that single enterprise experience is driven by already pre-built analytical engines that we offer within the platform. So we have our users use our built-in AI, ML algorithms, our raster analytics algorithms, our deep learning, which is a big new trend that we have, powered by AI and ML. We also have products that focus on big data analytics and real-time analysis that are very popular now. And these all work to drive answers to some of the most complex questions that you guys are answering today in your agencies. So now I'm going to talk a little bit about more specifically the product ArcGIS Knowledge and how that fits within this within this theme. So with ArcGIS Knowledge, we have an analytical engine that focuses on graph analysis and brings all this new capability to ArcGIS to improve upon our spatial, but then also our non-spatial analysis workflows, which is becoming more and more of a trend. So ArcGIS Knowledge brings the power of graph analytics to ArcGIS. And with ArcGIS Pro being the client you guys use, it's the first area where we're going to have this graph analytics technology built into it. So this is a new capability that you can take advantage of, which is the ability to combine spatial and graph analysis in your workflow. So you can see on the kind of on the box here that we have the ability to seamlessly connect between non-spatial data and spatial data. And so really what it is a highly connected knowledge graph, which can help you accelerate and understand and promote decision-making in your agency. So ArcGIS Knowledge essentially lets you build knowledge graphs within your current ArcGIS enterprise environment and be able to share that and collaborate across your organization to bring more insights. So it allows you to share those capabilities as well. And you'll see a few examples here in a second. But importantly, the thing is that knowledge graphs are in ArcGIS can be used like any other feature layer in the system, allowing users to take advantage of all the spatial analytical tools available in ArcGIS and apply them directly to data in the knowledge graph. By combining these capabilities together, you can derive unique insight and understand your data, which otherwise maybe it might have been hidden, because when we look at unstructured data or non-spatial data, it can sometimes be very hard to make sense of that without having context of location and being able to combine those together. So what is a knowledge graph? Some of you might be like, okay, what is that? Knowledge graphs are an entity-centric approach to data modeling and analysis, built on what we call entities and their relationships with one another. So both spatial and non-spatial data play an equal role in how data models are defined. By making it easier to understand and build on these relationships between the entities and the spatial locations, knowledge graphs provide a unique perspective and input what is happening in the world around us, and even help see what might happen in the future. So you can see from the diagram here of Pro, you have the map view, and then you have a supply chain view on the right, being able to actually integrate the supply chain locations, as you can see here, with locations of cities around the United States. And then on the right, you see how those cities are connected to non-spatial contexts. This could be people's information. It could be credit card information. It could be other different types of data that's very non-structured, non-type of spatial data, to be able to make sense of different relationships. And so this is a nice this is a nice diagram or demo of that linking of the ability to take spatial data, which you see in the supply chain locations, and being able to create those entity and relationships. So with knowledge graphs, you can create those entities and relationships and query how people, places, and things relate to one another. You can also query knowledge graphs spatially. So that's where you see the map. I could do a quick query of attributes or a select by location, and then that selects it on the link chart. And so you're able to then further relate layers and tables together in your ArcGIS Pro experience. While entities and relationships can be created manually, you can also import them from other business systems or other types of data like spreadsheets, or other data types like other geospatial services, or even bring in data using natural language processing to extract content from unstructured text. So for example, maybe extracting text from PDFs or other types of unstructured data. You can also use our data interoperability tool, which is available, which is an ETL tool within ArcGIS Pro, to connect and import databases and other file formats to help utilize this spatial analysis and non-spatial tool. So this flexibility allows you to work with a wide range of data, defining their connections and relationships, and see this connected data represented in information-rich knowledge graphs. And so when we talk about the data, and as far as the discovery, ArcGIS Knowledge helps you explore and analyze connections to your data through that intuitive data discovery. So this generally falls into three categories when we're talking about ArcGIS Knowledge. So one of it being data management, right? So data management, which lets you create and edit the entities and the relationships within the knowledge graphs. using familiar tools you already know within ArcGIS Pro. This helps you build and maintain the data for you and helps others discover it. Then you have the graph analytics in the middle, which rely on the knowledge graphs, which is that graph database, and the powerful spatial analysis tools we have built within the platform to help users find and better understand the relationships between the different data types. And then you have visualizations. And so visualizations can be in different formats. So you can see that we have kind of an investigations tab. So for example, visualizations, which represent different views of that data that you're pulling in, depending on the questions you're asking. As always, maps provide a spatial view of your data, and a knowledge graph can provide a different look of that. So we have link charts and the ability to see those entities and relationships to take advantage of the visualization tools within our ArcGIS Pro. But then also we have that investigations list, which allows you to deliver a more tabular, non-graphical view of your data where you can query, search, and preview and traverse those different relationships between data. So those entities and relationships that you would set up. So again, you could set up a relationship, an entity and relationship that would allow you to connect documents to location or to different types of government information that you manage. And so the next thing is that we also want to make sure that it's not in a stovepipe or like only condensed to one person within the agency. So the great thing is that you can run this as an individual, but it's all about collaboration, being able to share that ArcGIS knowledge information across the enterprise. So knowledge graphs help you organize and understand the connections of your data within ArcGIS Pro, but it's also designed with collaboration because you want to be able to share this after you've run the analysis. So because it's built on ArcGIS Enterprise and ArcGIS Pro, it builds on our existing collaboration and sharing fundamentals, like our group fundamentals. So when you're done running an analysis, you can then be able to share it and have folks use it within your enterprise. So we're continuing to build the graph database and knowledge link graphs as a functionality that'll be able to be shared and provided in other applications within ArcGIS Enterprise. And then the other thing is that we're continuing to build it in different ways. So like we're talking about a product, ArcGIS Knowledge, today, which at its start is going to start in ArcGIS Pro, and it's going to have ArcGIS Enterprise to publish those. But we're starting to expand that outside of those different products. So the initial release of ArcGIS Knowledge has ArcGIS Pro, right? And we have a graph database that ArcGIS Enterprise leverages. And then you can utilize that. But then at the same time, we're going to be building this into the ability to use it in notebooks and data science tools out of ArcGIS notebooks that you're familiar with. But then also we're going to be able to leverage it in the web and utilize the ArcGIS Python API to be able to extend that. So it's a cross-functionality capability we're continuing to work on and provide throughout the ArcGIS system for you to leverage. So in a nutshell, looking at how this relates to your guys's current enterprise, you have an enterprise portal. So essentially this is another server role that you can leverage if you see fit to be able to leverage the knowledge graph technology, again, which is an emerging technology. Knowledge graphs and graph databases are emerging within IT and GIS. And so the future is being able to access this across the portal, and we're going to be able to support other different types of database types for graph databases in the future. And so the future is bright when we're talking about advanced spatial analytics. And this is another tool that the county and other users of Esri can leverage to be able to bring in that non-spatial data and be able to really make it have an impact. The last thing is to promote. That's done with the demo. But the last thing I want to promote is we have the Esri Pacific User Conference coming up at the end, not the end, but in the middle of this coming month on November 15th and 16th. We have over 200 people already signed up. So if you were thinking about going or you didn't know, that's something that we have to offer up coming up here. And we have a nice government rate for folks in the government space. So it's definitely something our team's going to be at, and there's going to be a lot of folks at. So we look forward to you for you to come if you're going to come. If not, we'd be happy to answer questions now.
Thank you, Matt and Sandy. There is one question. Can you please name the state legislatures that enlisted Esri for redistricting consultations between 2020 and 2022?
The states that you leveraged our product, I'm almost assuming that's the question.
I believe the question is which state used the Esri to facilitate the redistricting effort?
Ooh, I don't know if we're going to know that one.
Yeah, I would have to get with the redistricting team to, I know California.
Yes.
That's the important one. No. We can find that out.
We can find that out. Yeah,
Sure.
we absolutely can answer that question, but we had a lot of folks in the county and cities leverage our tools out of the box, the SaaS one, or even our enterprise redistricting tool in the redistricting timeframe there. And a lot of folks really enjoyed that tool.
Great. I do have one question. For the ArcGIS knowledge server and the graph database you listed, does it require a separate license, or is that part of the ArcGIS enterprise?
It's a separate license. Yeah, I didn't go into that, but yeah, it is a separate license to deploy it. Yes.
Got it. Thank
The
you.
new functionality we're adding, but it will be offered in other products right in the future. But yes, it's another server role. But yeah, Sandy can answer questions on pricing if you guys are interested after.
Thank you.